I must be getting rusty. Forgot my microphone here. All right, here we go. Yeah. Woo. How is everybody doing? Let me adjust my chair a little bit here. Oh, let's. Can everybody hear me? I'll check with that first. Am I coming through okay? Am I loud? Am I clear? Am I looking okay? Am I all jittery? What do you guys got? If you got to complain, complain now. Good to go, says Renee. All right, so let me check, see who's here. Right off the bat, looks like we got, I don't know, between 8 and 12 people on right now. We just started, so Mark Davis is here. Mark, you've been around for a long time now, so I want to tell you I appreciate you. I appreciate you watching and I appreciate you showing up to these live streams. Big shout out to Mark. Mark is also a member of the Build a Basement YouTube channel, I believe. He was last I looked, so hopefully he's still in there, and hopefully if you're not, maybe you consider doing it to other people. Let's see here. Who else? Jose Fiera. Jose Fiera has been here. I think he was here before I was here. So I got to give the keys to the car to Jose so he can drive me here and we can start the show earlier because he's always early to the party. So Jose, how you doing? What else we have? We have Dune 591. What is the 591? Let me know. But hello, Dune. Let's see here. Renee, we talk almost every day. That's all I got to say. And let's see, Jessica Bollier. No idea who that is, but hello, Jessica. Just kidding. That is my wife and my daughter who like to watch the first 5 minutes of my live streams. So they deal with me every day, so they don't want to watch the whole thing. I can't imagine why they would. 5x5 says Mark Davis. That's awesome. Forehead is cut off. Is that better? Let's see here. Maybe I just got a big forehead. You're gonna make fun of me. Yeah, you look good. You sound good. Sound everything you good. I'm good. Let's see here. Okay, cool. Doing great. Let's see here. Yeah. I want to watch, but I also want to watch a TV show. Well, I know it's Haley now. So anyways, hello to everybody. I caught a little bit of the chat beforehand when we had that countdown timer. I get the countdown timer going just for people to kind of stroll in as they do if they want to. Of course, you know, this is the Kerm Build It Basement live stream. I do this every week or two. I'm not a live stream builder guy because, for one, no offense to anybody that does do that, I can't concentrate enough to do a build while I'm live streaming. I just can't do it. I'm just too focused on you guys. And two, it gives me an opportunity to kind of interact with you guys more so as opposed to emails and Discord and stuff like that. So I do have a bunch of stuff I want to talk about. Made myself a little bit of notes over here on the portable mobile video desk. Look, it's an earthquake. You like that? So family and I just took a trip recently, last week, had a blast. So I wasn't around last weekend, haven't had a lot of video content time yet, but I have been doing a lot of printing, have been doing a lot of tweaking, have been doing a lot of self-learning, I guess some additional learning, because that's pretty much what this hobby is all about, is learning how to do things and kind of perfecting the art, if you will. So yeah, so much to talk about. But first things first, Mark Davis said that he is having an issue with his 2.4 and is having some wiring issues. So Mark, at some point during the stream here, if you just want to throw in what's going on specifically, I mean, you got a whole brainstorm of people behind you. So I think all of us are willing to help out. So if you have anything other than, you know, hey, it's just not working, I'm more than happy to help. If you don't believe me, you can ask Renee. I've helped him quite a bit over a period of time. There's a lot of people I talk to via email, long stream, stuff like that. More willing to help all I can when I can. This is not my full-time job, so don't feel you're bothering me. If I don't respond, just don't pester me, and I'll do what I can. Speaking of that, and kind of jumping onto a different topic real quick, a topic that I was going to talk about, not necessarily right now, but it's in my list, so I might as well do it now. We don't have a ton of people on here, but I don't want a ton of people in here. I have just set up a new Discord server, and everybody and their mom has a Discord server, so I don't want everybody in my Discord server. And I don't mean any offense to that. And most of the time, people don't rewatch these live streams. which is why I'm mentioning it here. I don't know if I'm going to mention it on build videos or actual normal videos because I don't want everybody in this Discord server. I want kind of a core collection of people that that I want to work with, pretty much. That I want to talk to, that I want to be around, digitally, I guess, right? So that Discord server, I'm going to post a link here in the chat at some point relatively soon. But basically, it's a little bit different than other Discord servers. It is the Build It Basement Discord server. You might be able to search. I don't know if you can search Discord for servers, but I'm going to post a link, like I said. So the difference with this Discord server versus other ones that I've been on, especially the Voron Discord server, I know a lot of people that are watching my streams and watching my builds. Adjust this a little bit here. Are learning. They aren't at the upper echelon of what they can do, and I don't claim to be anywhere near that top of the peak either, but we're all learning together. And for that reason, what I'm trying to attempt to do is have a Discord server where people can introduce themselves and kind of put themselves out there as a person that is a, you know, somebody that knows something about something, or knows a little bit of something, knows quite a bit about something, or is an expert in something. And I have different segments inside the Discord, the chat sections, text chat sessions, where you can introduce yourself in specific groups as to who you are, what your name, and then basically talk about what you're proficient at and what you are good at. And then the hopes are when new people join, if new people join, right, is that they can go through and they can go and look and see those names. So at the very top of this this Discord server, I have a forum. And I know a lot of people don't like forums. I also know a lot of people do like forums. I'm a little bit older, and I grew up on forums versus Discord servers and things like that. I appreciate the fact of how a forum organizes itself and how people can help that organization, and that's my biggest problem I have with Discord, is the fact is a lack of organization generally. So the thought process is somebody can go in, they can go in, help with filament, and say, Jose, actually, I'll take somebody like Woody. I don't think Woody's here right now. Nuno's here. I'll get back to the chat here in a second, but Woody, who is another, I want to say patron because everything of, you know, Patreon, but I don't even use a Patreon. But Woody is somebody that I work with quite a bit. Woody also has decades in the plastics field. He actually worked with Kevlar when it first came out. He was working, who is it makes Kevlar, 3M? I don't know. But he knows a lot about plastics and things like that, and he just researched things to the nth degree. So he might introduce himself into that, you know, that filament section. And then a new person might come on and say, you know, I really want to know more about nylon. I don't have a 3D printer yet. Maybe I do, maybe he doesn't. I don't know. So he goes in the forum, makes a new topic called, I want to learn more about filaments. I want to learn more about plastics. And in that forum, post, you know, he starts a new section. He can then ping, you know, do @Woody, whatever Woody's handle is, and then Woody will get pinged, and then basically he'll know it's there, so he can answer, and it will be there for everybody to see in the future as well. So that's kind of my goal with that. So I'll post a link to that momentarily. I'm gonna catch up here on the chat real quick, so bear with me. I'm also gonna switch over to this camera right here. Hello. Get this gimbal cam going. There we go. All right, gimbal cam. All right, so let me catch up with the chat real quick. Oh, let's see here. Mark Davis pleasantly saying hello to my wife and daughter. Let's see here. Yeah, okay, so hello. Let's see. Nuno saying hello. Hello, Nuno. I didn't catch you coming in, but I do want to appreciate you stopping in. Renee, I have burnt out drivers, NeoPixels, etc., etc. We have troubleshot the whole thing twice over. Yeah, Mark, I'll throw it out there and we can all try. Yeah, so Renee's basically saying that if it can break, he'll break it, and he'll tell you how to do that and how possibly not to do that, right? Let's see here. It's been 5 minutes. Peace out. Love you. That must be Haley. Let's see here. Mark Davis, I'm at the end of changing the wiring out from an old Clockwork 2 to Stealth. Missed the wiring changes and a wonderful joy of recurving several times. I'm assuming you're talking about the Afterburner to the Stealth and the Clockwork 1 to the Clockwork 2, but correct me if I'm wrong. Recrimping is always a challenge. Having good tools to do that. I have 2 different crimping tools I use mostly. I can talk about those if you guys want. Hell, I'll even do a crimping video if you guys want it, if you guys ask for it. Let's see here. Down to replacing the driver. The stepper driver, I assume you're talking about. We've done that with Renee. Renee actually, what did he do? He upgraded to a Pro board, if I recall correctly. I'm working off memory, and I talked to a lot of different people. But he upgraded to a Pro board, an Octopus Pro, and there was a jumper that he had removed for voltage to the steppers, and nothing was working. And then he showed me a close-up. We actually did a video chat because we were both at our wits' end, and I was looking at it and I was like, what's that? And he says, well, that's a jumper. I took all the jumpers out. And it's like, well, there's no voltage going to your steppers. So yeah. Clicky clack door on the 2.4 R2. So that is a very popular upgrade. I can talk about that a little bit. I don't have one, but I know a decent amount about it. Bye guys, bye Haley, bye Jess. I'll see you guys later. And okay, everybody saying bye. Yes, Afterburner, my bad. Oh, okay. I've been installing RSCS on my Trident today. Fun times. All right, so caught up with the chat real quick. And yeah, lots of stuff there. Lots of stuff there. Mark, first things first, congratulations on upgrading the Afterburner to a stealth burner. And more so than that, I don't think the stealth burner to the Afterburner to the stealth burner is quite a large upgrade. It's arguable, I guess. I think maybe a little bit more airflow, some things like that. But the bigger upgrade on there is the Clockwork 2 versus the Clockwork 1. The Clockwork 1 had, I'd say had its faults, but I will say it had a lot of faults. The filament path wasn't exactly straight. There was some issues there. I wasn't a big fan of it, and I actually went with a Bondtech when I was using an Afterburner back a long time ago. Stealth burner with the Clockwork 2. Clockwork 2 has a much more direct filament feed, so I'm very impressed with Clockwork 2. Haven't had any issues with mine. Love it, love it, love it. I'm getting, and I don't push things to the limit, but I get about 20 millimeters square of filament through my Dragon high flow hot end ABS using my Clockwork 2, so it works pretty well. Also added tap as well. I got to talk to Renee about tap. And I also, so another thing on my list is the beacon, or beacon, you know, depending on how you look at things. I want to talk about that a little bit too. Do you guys like this camera angle? This is cool. I got my screen back here, so I can't even see myself. But it kind of gives you more of an idea of the whole room. It's kind of a wide angle lens. So yeah. Beacon, I was thinking about that as well. Don't think about it. I got words. I got words. Thinking about CNC. It's good things to think about. So I was thinking about, Renee, can I talk about you for a minute? I know you don't like to be dragged out into the middle of the room, but if you give me a go for it or sure or whatever, I want to talk about some of our conversations we've been having recently, if you don't mind. So if you want to throw something in chat, let me know it's okay with you. Sure. Okay, good. I try not to offend anybody, right? So Renee, over the past 72 hours, has been yelling at me. I'm talking all caps. It's bad. You know, it's like duck and cover. So, hey, Robert's here. So anyways, Renee's been yelling at me because I don't promote myself enough. So I got 2 things here. One is, the reason I don't promote myself is because I'm not looking to promote myself. I'm looking to promote people helping people, which is why I was talking about the Discord. And while I still have that on my mind, let me go ahead and throw that link up. Let's see here. Let me go into my Discord and grab a link. And I don't expect everybody to join. Matter of fact, if you don't like the style that I'm going towards, where I was just talking about there, where it's going to be a forum, but people can introduce themselves to help out other people, then don't bother joining. It's as simple as that. Stick with the Voron Discord, or the, whatever the Discord is, where people just chat it up all the time. If you want to chat, you can chat in there, but more or less it's to help people as much as possible. There are some places to chat. I do have a video room in there also, like an after party type room for after streams and things like that. But with that right there is the Discord. So if you do want to invite yourself over, it's right there. It's for you guys to use if you want it. And again, I don't plan on putting that in the show notes. I don't plan on advertising that in normal videos. It's just going to be in these live streams for the people that kind of check this stuff out. So let's see, what's everybody saying hello to Robert? Having to watch the audio off. Robert's having to watch the audio off. Huh. Well, let's see here. I don't know sign language, so I'll just say hello, Robert. I'm going to block my ears and say hello to Robert. So hopefully he gets that, right? Yeah. And let's see, Cottrell. Is the Mandela Roseworks kinetic mounts worth it? Do you see a difference, or is it more insurance? Talk about it in a second. Just give me a minute here. I just want to talk a little bit again about the conversation Renee and I were having. So he's saying I wasn't self-promoting myself, and people are joining the thing here on the Discord. So and again, I don't, and I told you the reasons, but I do want to point out a couple things. One is I contacted this company, 3D Energy, today about possibly sponsoring. I need the energy at 45 to keep me going through these things, to keep me wired and entertaining. A little crazy, right? So hopefully they do some with that. It's a little promotion, right, to help me out, to help float the hobby a little bit. Two is I do appreciate anybody that is a subscriber as well as a member to my channel. So if you're doing that, I appreciate it. If you haven't, consider it. There's stuff that starts all the way down around $2. It just helps me afford to do all this stuff. Cameras aren't cheap, and the equipment to do these things isn't the cheapest thing out there. So at some point I'd like to be able to, or I appreciate being able to have my YouTube income pay for the hobby and the video production, but who knows? So that's two. And again, I'm blaming, if you don't like this pity promotion, it's Renee's fault. And then three, and I've never mentioned the video, and Renee didn't know anything about it, is the fact that on my videos, if you do watch one that you like, there's a topic that you really appreciate or it helps you out, is the super thanks. A lot of people don't know about super thanks, but it is one of the buttons down on the lower end of the screen. You can hit that, and then you can basically give a $1 up to whatever you want to give as a thank you for that particular video. And I guess lastly, and please don't check it out now. Actually, it's not lastly, second to last. Second to last is I do have Amazon things inside of a lot of my descriptions. I don't put them in all, and I only put them in for things I use during that video for the most part. So if you are interested in buying something on Amazon that I use, clicking those links will help me out and possibly get you something. Further than that, and Renee reminded me of this today, is if you do buy things from Amazon, you click one of my links, if you buy something, even if it's not the thing that I'm showing you, within 12 or 24 hours or something like that, then I wind up getting a small percentage, and it doesn't cost you anything, so that helps me out as well. And then finally, last, talk about my Build a Basement store. Don't buy anything from it right now. Honestly, a lot of the stuff is kind of crap. I'm not really impressed with some of the stuff. I do have some t-shirts and things like that, but I want to come up with some better designs for things like that. So if you guys have any ideas, I'm more than willing to play with it. I'm pretty decent with graphic design. So yeah, so that is it. This is all the self-promoting I will do this year. It's only a month left, so I'm pretty safe there. And again, if you have, if this upsets you, if you don't like it, Renee's in the chat, go ahead and complain to him. There you go. So now back to Cottrell. Am I saying that right? On the Mandela Rose, after I take a look at drink here of my 3D Energy, which they're not sponsoring yet, but maybe, right? Let's see here. Nick's here. Hey, Nick. And I think I welcomed you in, but if I haven't, welcome. My fault. I will take the blame, but he is too humble. I have a big mouth, so I told him if he didn't say anything, I would. DBR it. Hello all. Hello DBR it. How did it get? Okay, so so the Mandela Roseworks. So I'm going to answer your question, but hopefully it doesn't come across as me beating around the bush. Mandela Roseworks, actually, let me see. I got that screen here. Let's see if I move slowly with this gimbal cam. I should, don't look at the box behind me, by the way. I should be able to get over to here. And the chat's kind of blocking it. But we're talking about this right here, this mount that's on the Ultibib slash Minion build. I was getting some upgrades too. But come on, move over with me. I will say they make awesome stuff. Okay, so the CNCing, the cut quality, the design of the Mandela Roseworks stuff is just plain old awesome. If you like sharp lines, you like, you know, things that look really nice that are precision, they make good stuff. That being said, on a kinematic bed, if you have a not flat bed to start off with, it's not worth it. If you have a magnetic 3M magnetic, you know, I don't know what to call it, you know, the plastic magnetic sheet on top of your bed that you put your bed on, it's probably not worth it. It's only worth it if you follow it all the way up, meaning that you start with a kinematic bed system or mounting system to mount to a bed that is machined flat. It's not rolled, it's machined. It has embedded magnets, and these are all Mandela Roseworks items that they sell, but has those things to give you a flat surface to work off. Then it makes sense to mount it to something that ensures that it maintains flat. If you're not dealing with those things, I don't believe it's worth it. Because, and I've said it before, I'll say it again, is if you're sticking a big sheet, what does that look like on camera? If you're sticking a big sheet of plastic magnet on top of a bed to put your build surface on, that's never going to be flat. No matter what you do, it's not going to be flat. There's always going to be semi-ripples in it. That's not a machined, it's not a, you know, it's made to a degree of precision that isn't super high. So that's why you have bed meshes and things like that. But that's what it is. So if you're going to start with the you know, with a really good bed, and you're going to have it with the embedded magnet, so everything is machined 100%, well, it's close to 100%, 99.9999% flat. Having a kinematics mounting system at that point makes sense. Other than that, don't waste your money. Simple as that. All that being said, and that rolls me a little bit into the beacon, and I've been having some discussion with people on that, and I have feelings. And then who said that they were thinking about that? It was Renee. Okay, so here's my problem is, I think it, you know, it's an awesome device and it does some pretty cool stuff. Being able to do, you know, 1,000 points of reference on your bed is pretty cool. Now, that's kind of where the coolness ends. I don't know how well that translates into helping you out or helping me out or helping anybody out to have a better print. One thing you need to realize, getting back to the bed and everything like that, and again, you open a can of worms, you ask me about the kinematic mounts, is, I reached my goal, is if you don't have a flat surface, no scanning of your bed, no bed meshing, none of that stuff is going to fix. It's going to allow your prints to stick to your bed, but it's not going to fix the bottoms of your prints if you're going for precision printing. What happens when you do a bed mesh, whether it's with a beacon or a tap or a clicky or, you know, an inductive probe, is it basically adjusts the head so that it stays in close contact to the build surface, or in the reference point of the beacon, in an inductive probe for that matter, the nearest piece of metal that it can see. And we'll talk about that in a second. So if you don't have a flat bed, it doesn't matter how many points of reference you have on that bed for your bed mesh. So I think it's overkill. I think it's cool. I think it's cool to see a bed mesh with 1,000 points on it. I've actually done some bed meshing with a few hundred. I did that for fun with another person. We were trying some stuff out. I was using a tap nozzle to, this type of things I can make videos for, but I'm not into the catchy type videos with the weird names. But I was using my tap to do a bed mesh, and literally putting like pieces of paper on the bed, or I was scanning. I was doing 3D scanning using the tap. Clickbait, definitely. Worth making a video for? Probably not. Interesting? Only to the rarest form of person that's possibly not watching this video. So that's my 2 cents. I'll tell you why I like the tap. I like the tap because it actually is looking at your print surface, no matter what the material is. So with the tap, if you're using a PEI bed, textured or flat, you're testing the top of that bed. If you're using a, what is it? It's not G6, it's, what's the PCB board material? I keep on forgetting what that's called. But anyways, it's a fiberglass material. If you're using that material, which works pretty good with some material, is it ABS? It works well with PET G. It works well with. There's a couple different things it works well. People swear by it. If you're using a beacon probe or an inductive probe, you're not measuring that surface of that material because it's not metallic. You're measuring the bed underneath it. So there is a problem with that, and that's one of the reasons, or one of the big faults with that material, why I'm not so big on those inductive and scanning type probes. So print on top of a pizza box tap, yeah, you could. Yeah, I guess that's my rant, and hopefully I answered your question, Cottrell, about that. I think that the Mandela Rose Works kinematics mount, as long as you go with the whole system, makes sense. I think it's like a lot of other things. If you buy a portion of something, you don't necessarily get the full effect, nor does sometimes even the little bit of effect that one portion of it would have do anything for you whatsoever. So yeah, and to the beacon beacon thing, one more time, just realize if you're doing that, you are scanning the nearmost or nearest most metallic surface. Doesn't scan glass, doesn't scan a fiberglass board, it doesn't scan the top of your PEI if you're using a textured PEI, not that that matters too much. It doesn't scan any of those materials. It's scanning, literally if I ran it on my printer and I was running a glass bed on top of it, you would see the magnets underneath it. You would not see the actual build surface. So if you like that type of thing, if you're using it, great, it works great for you, don't change, use it. If you're thinking about using it, know what the downsides are, know what the upsides are, and make a decision based on that. We're all different, we all have different printers. All right, that's my rant. I don't rant very often, but that's my rant. Let's see here, my new Discord. We talked about the beacon. All right, so in 3D Andrew, I think I'll stick with just upgrading with the Wobble X, not kinematic mount. I have a beacon on my Trident now and don't even have to run a bed mesh. I don't run bed mesh either. And so you have a beacon, but you don't have to run a bed mesh. So a little backstory, and we're gonna get into this big, can you see it in this? Let me move over. We're gonna get into what's behind this box here in a second. But believe it or not, back 2 years ago, when Voron 2.4, people were building them, there wasn't too many kits out there, LDO didn't have a kit or anything like that. There was no bed meshing before every print. Basically did a bed mesh as part of your configuration, and then you would possibly do one every week, month, or whatever, whenever you were having some issues. But this bed mesh before every print thing didn't exist. So the fact that you don't have to do a bed mesh before your prints doesn't surprise me whatsoever. Personally, I don't do them for every print either. If you have a static bed and you print at a relatively static temperature and things stay the same, you don't have to bed mesh. If you're constantly moving out things or changing things and things happen, then maybe you want to think about it. One more thing about the kinematic mounts I will mention is the fact that if you wire it up properly using Wagos and have a system in place, it does make it easy to remove the bed without having to unbolt or anything like that, because it's just magnetically held in place. So that's another benefit that I really don't, or I didn't talk about. I run adaptive bed mesh, meaning tap. Yep. Excuse me. Adaptive bed meshing is awesome. I mean, it just basically looks at the area that you're printing on. Again, if you have a bed that has changes or actively changes during the heat up process, using a bed mesh or an adaptive bed mesh to keep it situated to a smaller area makes a lot of sense. Have with it. Renee, because I'm still moving stuff around, once I get mine running, I won't have to do it every one. Yeah, you're just gonna check or update your print config if your information's in there, or if you're running it through a macro. Basically, your G32 or your print start, depending on where you placed your bed meshing, you're just going to basically take that out of there, or just put a hash in front of it or a number symbol, and that will stop it from happening every time. You also want to remove your clear bed mesh, and you possibly want to add a load bed mesh default. So, and then I would strongly suggest, if you're going to basically not do bed meshes every print, is that you do a relatively high quality bed mesh, meaning that at bare minimum of 5x5, upwards of a 9x9. I wouldn't go past 9x9. But I would do that, store it as a default, and then I would basically have that in the machine until you ran into issues, and that will actually save you on your startup sequence too, especially if you're running tap and you already got to deal with the cool up, cool down, if you're doing a scrub, things like that. So it helps out with timing. Let's see here. I am tempted to just put the kinematic kit because it looks cool. Just remove bed is very nice. Yeah, it does look cool. It is very nice. I have another one. I have a lot of parts here because I haven't made as much progress as I wanted to on the Super Vorum, but I swear I'm going to be making my videos on that and putting them out there. It's going to be a little bit different from my other ones. I'm hoping to up the production quality on those a little bit. Maybe not be so in depth, but basically make them look nice and be more fun to watch. But I have a whole nother setup here someplace. It's very good stuff. I'll give a shout out to KB3D again for that. That's where I get my Mandela Roseworks. He doesn't carry everything, so if you need something that he doesn't have, you can get directly through Mandela. They have a good website as well. Wayne, I believe, is the gentleman's name that runs that place. He's a one-man shop as far as I know. He did just move, from what I am told, in the past month or two to a new location, need a little bit more room. So I don't know if he fell behind on production or what's going on there, but if you are working with him or if you need something, reach out to him, and he might need a little extra time. I don't know. I'm just saying that just to cover my bases. Let's see here. I didn't know about adaptive bed mesh. I will have to look into that. Thanks, Renee. Mark, if you're interested in that, I can do a video on it. I don't do it. I think, again, I like starting off with a solid foundation and working from there. But if you are interested in that adaptive bed mesh, if people are in general, if you send me an email or if you do a comment on a video or something like that, that's kind of where I get those ideas to make those videos. Let's see here. Hit me up on Discord if you have a question. I have broke that a few times as well. How do you break adaptive bed meshing? That's crazy. Let's see here. Any Trident content coming? Would love to see Ultimate Trident build. So I want to build a Trident, and I've considered buying a Trident kit, and I'm kind of in between right now because I was also, if you caught some of my other streams, I've been talking about building a printer called the Black Box. However, the Black Box has been pushed back a couple times now. Chris over at KB3D is pretty much spearheading the additional design and the fabrication, or dealing with other people to do fabrication to build parts for this printer. And he's had a couple setbacks. So I was hoping that I would have ordered that by now, and that would be coming by about the end of this month, and I would be starting to build that. Since that's not happening, I'm going to be looking to do something else with the 2.4 rebuild I'm doing. I've already built 4 2.4s, so I could probably do it in my sleep, which is why I think I can up the VO production on it. I can focus more on that. But a Trident I have not built yet, and I'm very interested in doing that. So that might be something I'm looking at if you guys are interested in as well. It's either going to be that or a rat rig or something similar. Yeah, I would be interested in doing that. Let's see here. The videos that are out are outdated, so I had to figure something out on my own. Are you talking about the adaptive meshing? So there's a, and because I haven't done it, I know quite a bit, but I don't know specifics about some things. But I believe there's a name for something that sets that up for you for the most part, kind of like the system will set up, Klipper and everything for you, but there's something for the adaptive bed meshing. I forget what it's called. I could Google it, but I'm not going to. VZBot could be a cool build as well, or Tridex. Yeah, they would be. I'd rather build a Trident. I want to build a Black Box, but if I don't get some input from Chris, who has a stream tonight at 9 o'clock on the other video presentation website that I won't mention, then maybe I'll kick you guys in that direction when I'm done here. But if he doesn't get some movement on that, maybe I'll be ordering something else. So, okay. Caught up with the chat. I want to get into what's behind me in this box over here. Hopefully the gimbal camera moves with me. So let's see if that happens. Yeah, works pretty good, right? Good thing I have a cordless mic. So this right here, and if you can read Chinese, I'm assuming, even if you can't, it says E-Dry on it. This is pretty cool. So this is something I bought from Chris a while back. He did a group buy. He does them, I believe, every March, maybe May. But basically, it's a group buy, and it is going to be a pain in my butt. It is a very nice filament dryer. So first thing, and for the people that already know, I apologize, but just because I don't want anybody to be left out, drying your filament or having a filament dryer or a method to keep your filament dry, is very important when you're dealing with some more expensive filaments. Not so much when you're dealing with PLA, ABS. PETG is relatively cheap, so if you lose a spool, that's not a big deal. But excuse me, your nylons, your polycarbonates, your more expensive filaments, you're going to want something where you can keep your filament dry. Now, you can always go out and buy inexpensive dryers like this Sunlu that has heating elements inside of it, and they work. These work solely on the fact that they heat up your filament, they heat up the air around it, and therefore, push or pull moisture out of things and push them out into the open air, which is great, and that works for a single roll. But this actually dries in the sense that it actually dries. It doesn't do it based on heat. This actually produces no heat on the inside. Or a negligible amount of heat, I should say. This is more for cooling, for drying and drying sense. So I think it's really cool. First things first, need to get a drink. My throat gets dry. I am not building the eccentric carrot, rabbit, feeder, fellow, whatever. We're gonna build a Black Box and do it right. That gizmo, if you can send me a video of somebody that built one of those and loves it, and then makes another video within 6 months if it's still functional, I will build one. Renee. So other than that, you go build one. So first things first, has a keyed lock, which you might say why, but I got 2 kids that like to poke around and play with stuff, and some of the filaments in here are about $100 a roll, so I'd like to keep them relatively protected. On the inside here, you got the same type of weather seal that you'd have on a refrigerator. It's very pliable, and it seals 100% around the door. It's actually set inside of the metal door. The door itself is glass. So is it glass? I think it's glass. 99% sure it's glass because it's pretty robust. On the inside here, I know you can't see it, but basically you have a I forget what it is. It's where you have a electrical, actually what is it called? Ultra low humidity dry storage. I forget what they call that. It's the same process that you use if you get like an RV refrigerator. They're calling it dehumidification core, but it's, somebody's gonna write it. If you know it, you write it. But basically, it's a unit that uses electricity to have a cool side and a hot side. And when that happens, basically you get condensation on the inside. That condensate, which is very minimal, basically then comes in the back section and then gets blown out by a fan. On the inside, you have room for about 5 spools straight across on a roll. You have outputs on the top for them, and you also have, how many? 1, 2, 3, 4 in the back. You also have room in here for additional filament if you just want to store it in here, which is nice. So currently right now I got 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 rolls of filament in there that I can keep locked up. Settings on the front here are pretty easy to work with. Wow, I am dry tonight. Go figure, huh? See, it worked so well that I opened up the door and now my throat's all dry. If you believe that, I got a car to sell you. Yeah, so settings here on the front work pretty well. I have this one set right now to 12%. I just opened the door. It's telling me that it is 30% in there right now because I opened it up. Now it will work slowly and basically dehumidify the air that went inside there back down to 12%, which is where I'm keeping it right now. Horrible. So what you gotta keep in mind is this uses very little electricity. This is not running like a refrigerator or a heater or anything like that. This is more of the turtle versus the rabbit. This is the turtle. So very nice little unit. I'm very excited to have it. I'm really excited to start working with some nylon materials and then get back out into my polycarbonate materials, because there's a lot of things you can start to play with once you get there. That's just some PETG, but I've got some PA 612 carbon fiber in there, as well as some other materials that we're gonna have fun with. So yeah, so if you're interested in something like that, that's kind of the way to go, especially if you're really into the hobby. And if you're building, you know, a $1,500 or $2,000 printer, getting a dryer like that for around $800 maybe, it might be something for you, might not be. It's up to you. And that came from Chris over at KB3D. No, it's not a thermocouple. It's not absorption. You guys are gonna make me, oh, right there. Nick said it. Pelter, yes. That's exactly what it is. You can look it up if you wanna see how that works. So yeah. Had the try, Renee says, on the Enrage Carrot Rabbit feeder. Just in case you didn't know if I knew what it actually was. I'll look at my notes here. So, yeah. Beacon Versatile uses heat and chemical reaction to keep refrigerator cool. It's no real chemical reaction, no real heat either, to be spoken of. It's more more of the difference between cold and hot that makes a difference. And basically when that happens, it produces any condensation that gets stuck in there and sucked out the back. RV refrigerator is exactly what it is. That was actually a joke. I like to think of myself as being honest. I said to Chris, I said, hey, it's an $800 RV refrigerator, because I'm pretty sure I can buy an RV refrigerator for $400. That's relatively about the same size and whatnot. Maybe it doesn't have the insides like that does to put filament in it, but yeah, you could buy an RV refrigerator and keep it at flip the coil or flip the pad in the back around so the heat's on the inside and the cold's on the outside, or something. You could rig it if you wanted to, but it's pretty much exactly what it is, an RV refrigerator. Chemical reaction, it uses propane. No, this doesn't use propane. That'd be exactly what you don't want. When you burn propane, you get water, dude. Silly Renee. Bad boy. Let's see here. Talk a little about some parts I've been printing. So I have been printing. I have been getting ready to print. I have been getting ready to do my rebuild over here. With the Super Voron, and after all my tuning and everything like that, I've been printing what I would consider some of my best prints ever, and I guess I can show you guys some of that real quick, since I like doing a show and tell. All right, so I think I've already showed everybody what the color scheme is going to be, but we have this kind of this rust red and this like this gunmetal gray type thing here going on. I did a lot of tuning at the printer I talked about last time. Got a video series I've started working on my tuning progress and what I've gone through. I'm trying to find the fine line between diminishing returns on what you put into it versus what you get out of it. And that's difficult because everybody's a little different as to how far they want to take something. But I think getting to that 80 percentile or 85 percentile is kind of fair for everybody. But anyways, two-tone printing. I think most everybody probably watches my videos knows how to do that, but something else is kind of fun that we're doing here. But these are coming out awesome in ABS. This is all, what is it, Paramount ABS. This is going to be running in the new build a Revo high flow system, which basically uses a 60-watt heater and you can only get a 6mm and bigger, or 0.6 millimeter and bigger nozzle for it, but it has kind of the was it CHT kind of filament breaker in the middle of it to make it so that the filament splits off before it heats up. But yeah, so all my parts are coming out damn nice. My fitment on everything is really good. I'm pretty impressed with this stuff. Let's see here, Bondtech OMID. Yeah, I could. I don't want to. I want to try to buy. I'm buying parts, but I'm trying to stick with the Clockwork 2 and the Stealth Burner, and build it in-house when it comes to that stuff. So yeah, which parts are they? Is it this here? Yeah. So this is a known, you know, if anybody's built the Clockwork 2, you probably have some idea as to what this is. This is part of the I don't know if the Idler or Idler, whatever it is, but basically this is like their fitment test, which is an active fitment test, because if this doesn't work, then your printer is pretty much not going to work properly. The only thing I have is on my top surfaces, and I'm not over extruding, but I think it might be some Z-Hop settings. I don't use Z-Hop. I don't like Z-Hop, which is funny because I own a domain for Z-Hop. Anyways, yeah. So anyways, but yeah, these right here actually fit perfectly in place, and I can pull them apart if I have to, but I mean, it's just, I don't know if you can hear that, but they are friction fit between, basically, I'm going to do it up by the microphone. See if you hear it up here. Yeah, you can hear the layers when you put those together. They're so perfectly matched up. So yeah, so I've got my tuning down to the nth degree on this Super Voron printer that I'm building. I'm very impressed with the quality, the layer lines, pretty much the whole thing, the whole nine. So it's going to be a fun build to do, and it's going to be kind of a proof of concept in terms of what the tuning guide will be. So let's see here. It looks really good for ABS. I appreciate it. Thank you. Try the Twill Clockwork 2 gears from Mellowfly. I haven't bought much from Mellowfly, but I do have some stuff from them. I also have another tap coming from, I forget who it's from, but I have another tap coming in to test as well. Z-Hop, never really understood what it was. So, see, ask questions, dude. Z-Hop basically is your Z, obviously, hopping. And that's it. No, when you do a retraction, usually, or you do a layer change, Z-Hop basically it brings your Z up slightly, and sometimes does a wipe as well, basically to pull the plastic so that it doesn't leave any mounds of plastic on a surface. So sometimes Z-Hop is, like I said, it's combined with a wipe, so you basically have a Z-Hop. So if you're printing on a flat surface like this, and you have a stop, as opposed to a stop and then a move, you have a stop straight up, wipe backwards, and then a move. So basically, think of a Dairy Queen. I think everybody in the States at least knows what Dairy Queen is. You know, they got that little curly Q on the top of the ice cream when you get it. It's kind of like what a Z-Hop is. It's that little movement like that, and that's nicer than what you'd get if you didn't have that. But the problem with Z-Hop is if you have a well-tuned printer, is that extra movement up actually can give you little spikes. So yeah. Let's see here. Thermal, oh no, I'm going back up to the chat here. Montech IDGA. Yep. Yeah. I think it looks really good for ABS as well. One of the first build videos we're going to be installing on the Super Voron, we're going to be building the gantry. My old gantry is still down there in a box. So the only parts that I'm using that are not standard print parts, and I've chosen them for specific reasons, and that specific reason is they are stress points. I was going to get a CNC system from Chaotix Labs, but they've had some issues with their complete CNC kit. So my AB mounts are still going to be printed AB mounts, but let me go back over to my camera here. My Z tensioners are going to be from Chaotix Labs, and if you haven't seen these before, these are kind of neat. They're obviously aluminum. The only issue I have with these, and maybe it's not an issue, but we'll see, I guess. I'm not so hugely happy with the fact that there's no actual bearing or anything on here. This is just a round over, which it should be fine. But if they're going to put the effort into building something, it seems like they could maybe do something, make this actually spin or something, as opposed to just dragging the belt over the top of it. Again, probably not a big issue, but adjustment on these. So adjustment on these is done with this thumb screw right here. So if I go to fully extend, as you can see the red coming out here further, like this, and I don't know how far I can go. Actually, let's see if it falls right out if I go too far. Yep, it does. So you got that piece here. It's much the same as the normal Z tensioner that you'd find, the Angry Idlers. But basically, I hope I can get it back together. I don't want to cross thread it. Basically, you have attached to the screw that's in here, or actually the nut, there's a nut embedded in this unit, the bolts down here. You have a big thumb screw, and it does seem, one thing I was concerned about is there was enough pull on this, would itself, detense that and kind of roll back. It doesn't seem like there's enough there. There's enough drag that makes it good. And there's enough leverage on this because the wheel is big enough to actually get some good pull on that. So this part right here is one of those parts on the printer where there's a lot of strain on this, or a decent amount depending on how you have your belt set. I like to keep my belts, actually that's something I can talk about in a minute here, but it's a strain point. I've had them have issues in the past. I thought it'd be a good thing to do in aluminum. So that's one item. Next item, and I've gone through multiple renditions of my my front tensioners for the front. So basically, these are the tensioners that go on the front of the printer for your AB belts or for your XY belts. So these again, these allow for, we're gonna be like, let's see, yeah, like that. These are these allow you to tension your belts using a thumb screw. And to be honest, I think the idea of having tensioning on a thumb screw, I won't say it's worthless, but it's not a huge priority to me, because once you set your tension on your belts, when you first build your printer, you should be good for a week or two minimum before you have to readjust them. And then once you readjust them, maybe in a week or two or even a month, depending on how much you're printing, they should stay relatively close to where they are at that point, because the stretch you get out of a belt during the first, say, 20 to 50 hours of printing is the maximum or the most that you're going to get out of those belts probably for the life of the belts. After that, it's going to be minuscule. Again, this is another stress point. I wasn't a fan of the original 2.4R1 tensioners. I used the Rama tensioners on that. The new ones that are on the R2 are better, but I still prefer the Rama ones, and I'm going to see if I prefer these over that. So, and then finally, another point is here on the XY joints. And primarily the reason I got these is because they go in line with me figuring out how to put them back in the box. They go in line with the X rail that I'm using here, or the X extrusion. So these are West 3D Fabrico DFH.FM units. Common Anomaly Productions, and this is about 30% lighter than the extrusion you normally use. It's also a little bit stronger, and let's face it, it's just cool looking, right? So this basically is going to be on the printer kind of like that, that's looking at from the top. And since this is going to be utilizing that gunmetal gray, so basically the printer is going to be this rust red, gunmetal gray, black, and silver on the inside of it. And I think everybody's already seen the pictures of the graphics that are going on it. And then obviously I got the TAP version 2 that's going to go in there too. So yeah, let's see here. What are people saying here? Weight difference between CNC and ABS prints. The weight difference between CNC and ABS prints, it depends on which part you're talking about. And that also goes into depending on whether or not it makes any difference whatsoever. Obviously, something like these tensioners, these weigh, I would say, 4 to 5 times more what they do if you print them. However, it doesn't matter because they're not moving on the gantry. Anything on the gantry, weight does matter a little bit more. But more so than that, things on the gantry that have to do with the X portion of it, where your tool head is and everything, that matter most. These are on the front, obviously, of the gantry. I would say these weigh probably 3 times more, maybe 2.5, 3 times more. I could weigh them, but I'm not going to right now. I will when we're doing the build. Then the printed parts, back to the actual X parts. These right here, and if I knew we were going to talk about that, I would have brought a scale down, but let me look. Let me just get a weight for it from my hands. Let's see, I got that. I would say they're darn close but I would say that the aluminum parts are probably 20 or 30% lighter than the printed plastic ones, which I'm not going to be using, but I have them as spares. And as for the X, let's see here. Bear with me. So, using Cling and McClang. So as for the X gantry extrusion, there are three here. I have a standard extrusion. I have the one I'm going to be using on my printer. The I always forget what it's called. Common Anomaly version. It's, again, about 30% lighter. I also have a carbon fiber version that I've never used, but this is kind of neat too. Obviously this weighs less than 10% of what the normal extrusion weighs, and probably, again, man, probably roundabout a quarter of what that weighs. But I would only use this carbon fiber if I was going for a Speed Demon machine, which I never really do. I would, I am interested in building a Speed Demon small printer, something like a V0 or a salad fork or something, maybe at some point. So those are in the cards, but not what I'm doing right this second. Yeah. All right. What else did I have I wanted to talk to you guys about? What else do I got here? We got printed parts, the Beacon versus Tap. One thing I will say, and this is again for Renee, we've talked a lot lately on the Tap. I don't know if this happens to a lot of people, but just bringing it up. If you're using a Voron Tap on your printer and you're working on your Z offset, that Z offset should be minimal. Yeah, I'm looking forward to the rebuild too, Mark. Just finding the time to do it. So, point of confusion that I just want to clarify for people, because if one person has an issue, maybe other people have the same issue. But yeah, so if you're using a Voron Tap, or whether it be a printed tap or a CNC tap or a Mellow Tap or whoever else makes a tap, if you're using a tap, your nozzle is your Z end stop. So it knows when it's on the bed. So when you're setting your Z offset, of which there should be very little, if any, it should be minuscule. Maybe it's slightly, if you're doing Z offset, it might be slightly negative, but usually way less than 0.1. I'm talking about 0.025, 0.04, 0.015. It's going to be way, way down that scale. The reason I bring this up, and I'm not dragging you out, Renee, but Renee says that when he's doing his, he's coming out to like 0.4, and it just doesn't make sense. So if you're running numbers like that on your Z offset and you're using a tap, double check it. Do me a favor, double check it. Send me an email. If we got to do a chat session, I'll team viewer into your computer, to your machine if I have to. But those numbers should be relatively small, and that's just something that's come up recently, so I figured I'd mention it. Do you run a Z end stop with your Beacon? I don't run a Beacon. So if you're asking somebody else, that'd be great that they can answer. But I would say if you're running a Beacon, you should be running a Z end stop, because there's no way for the printer to know where your nozzle is. So that's kind of a misconception I think that people have. The reason that you have a Z end stop on a Voron 2.4 printer is so that you know where your printer nozzle is in conjunction to where your bed is, because really your Z offset is the difference between where your Z pin is, where you're using a sex bolt or something like that, to where your bed is. And that's really what you're measuring when you do a Z offset, when you're doing that system. If you're doing a Beacon or something like that, you still should be doing that, because it doesn't tell you where your nozzle is. The only time you shouldn't be using a Z end stop is if you're using a Voron tap of some sort. Other than that, you should always have a Z end stop. Another benefit of a Voron tap, just throwing that out there, is you have to try hard to hurt a bed if you have a Voron tap. You know, 1 or 2 times, 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 it's very difficult to dig into a bed with a Voron tap. You can do it with almost anything else because it keeps the head. The fact that your head's not static or your nozzle's not static and it can move up and down makes it pretty hard to dig into that bed. Renee, negative, what are you at? Negative 0.162. That's a lot better. I think earlier today you told me negative 0.4, which would be like 2 layer heights on a normal print. That was extreme. So have you tried it, Renee, with that negative 162? Interested. All right. I think I'm running out of things. Oh, yeah, but I'm still having to play with the flow. Okay, yeah, let's talk about that a little bit. Man, that's why I like when you guys chat. You guys need to chat to keep me thinking, because conversation I had recently with Renee when we got into this whole thing with his tap and with his offset is started off with him doing jiu-jitsu over here. Was starting off with him having some issues with elephant foot. Position and stop equals, yeah. Start off with elephant foot. Yeah, that's what I'm saying, elephant foot. So elephant foot is a surefire sign that somebody had trouble getting things stuck to their bed. If you have elephant foot, I'd be almost willing to guarantee at some point in time you had trouble getting something to stick to your bed. And the way you resolved it was by really mushing it into the bed. So there are 3 things that you can do, and I quickly hammered them out to Renee, but I'll throw them out there for everybody else. If you have elephant foot on your prints, number 1, back off your Z a little bit because you're too close. That's the first thing you need to do, especially if you haven't done any of the other things I'm going to mention in a few seconds. I would say back off about 1/5 of a layer height. So if you're putting up 0.2, 0.05, because I think you're probably really, really close. If you do that, and actually let's do this real quick. Let's jump into Orca. Yeah, there we go. Let's jump into Orca. And it's really cut off, so let me fix that real quick. Let me fix my Orca here for you guys. Let me fix this. There we go. All right, so what I suggest people doing if they're working on fixing things, you know, a print is, I'm always happy to get in the Orca too because I really love this. And the more you play with it, the more you learn. So I haven't mentioned it yet because I was hoping other people would, but I'm wondering if anybody did their homework with the tolerance test. I know some people already mentioned it before we started, but I am interested if anybody did do the tolerance test and whether or not they were successful. So anyways, getting back to this. So elephant foot, right click, add primitive, cube, take the cube, adjust it, scale it, uniform scale, 30%. Tiny, tiny, tiny cube. Okay. Take that cube again, adjust it, change your Z, get rid of uniform scale, 10%. Actually, you know what, 20%. That should be big enough so you can tell whether or not you're gonna have elephant foot. Now here's the thing, is that print, on my printer right now, the way the settings are, will take 3 minutes and 35 seconds to print. So in 3 minutes, I can tell whether or not that print's going to have elephant foot, and I can make adjustments based on that. So first things first is modification of your Z offset. Mine's currently set to 0.025. That's my happy medium, that's where I'm at. That's where I like it. So I know I don't have elephant foot, but if I did, that'd be the first thing I looked at. If I had a number that was extreme, like 0.4, 0.5, I would go through the Voron setup procedure. And I know people hate it and they don't like it and they kind of rag on it a little bit. but the paper trick works to get you near where you want to be. If you don't know what that is, throw in the comments and I will show you on the Voron webpage what that is. But I think everybody probably knows what that is. So first thing first, like I said, your Z offset should be not huge. It should be relatively close if you're using, especially if you're using a tap. So now you have this little tiny block. The first thing I would do if I was working on elephant foot is I would make it so I get to the point where this is just sticking. If I'm still having sticking issues or stickage issues, I would make sure all right, this is a big one. Make sure your bed's clean. And when I say that, take your take your bed, wash in the washing machine. No, take your bed up to the sink, kitchen sink, bathroom sink, I don't care what sink. Get some dish detergent, I don't care what brand, Palmolive, Dawn, whatever it is, wherever you are in the world. Hot water, scrub down that build plate if it's a PEI sheet, because most of you guys are probably using PEI. Feel free to go ahead and use a little bit of a green scrubber on there. Don't dig into anything like that, but give it a good scrubbing. Rinse it off 100%, do the front and back. Get some isopropyl alcohol, something with high 90 plus. Wipe down the bed with that. Put it back on the printer, heat it up. First thing first, make sure you have a clean bed. And then if you're still having sticking issues after that and you've adjusted your Z heights, bring it a little bit closer. Bring it to the point where you get close enough where it starts to stick. The other reason you use a small print like this, it has some height to it, is there's not a lot of base for it to stick. So if this sticks, then you should be good. So getting back into this, there's two settings I want to show you if you're having problems sticking now that we're trying to get rid of the elephant foot. The first one is your bottom surface flow. And people may argue that these are wrong, this is what you shouldn't do, because there's 18,000 different ways to do these things. But just upping your bottom surface flow slightly will basically make it so you're pushing a little bit more filament through when you're doing that first layer. And that will help you get a little bit better stiction on your bed. So that's number one. Number two, if you still have elephant foot and you can't get rid of it no matter what you try, if you go to this little magnifying glass right here and you start to type in elephant, there is a setting in Orca called elephant foot compensation. And basically what this will do is it will basically retract your base layer on your print by a certain amount of millimeters. So basically it will remove the ability for that to stick out because it will be sucked in. That is a, I'm gonna get back on my camera. That is a worst case scenario. You don't want to use that unless you really, really have to, and you really never should have to use that because you're manipulating your print at that point. I would not do that if you're trying to print a precision part. If you're printing printer parts, don't use that. But if you're printing something that doesn't matter really, it's another option. So Renee, there you go. Those are the things I was going to talk to you about. I think I already talked to you about, but now you see them in video. There you go. Let's see here. Or adding glue. It's all good. I'm still learning. You all can learn from my mistakes. Homework figured out my elephant issues. Why I went back and back to fixing stuff. Cool. I'm not a big fan of glue. I'm not a big fan of any type of additive. There are magic goo. You can use glue sticks. You can use a bunch of different stuff. Use a proper bed for your build. Set your printer properly. You shouldn't need all that stuff. When I used to print back in the day, we used to make ABS slurries to get ABS to a bed. I used to buy polycarbonate sheets and I would print polycarbonate using a polycarbonate sheet because plastic sticks to itself usually pretty good. But if you're having to do that stuff, your machine may not be up to snuff to print that type of material, or you might not have the machine, or the proper machine to print that material. If you want to try to print polycarbonate on an ender, maybe those are the stretches you make. Speak from experience. So, cool. All right, guys. I'm going to do one last thing here. I am going to send you guys a link to my friend, and I think a lot of our friends, Chris from KB3D. It's his Twitch. He's not there yet. He's going to be there at 9 o'clock, which is approximately what, 10, 13 minutes. If you go in there, tell him I sent you. Hopefully I think he's working on a Voron 2.4 right now. He's never built a Voron printer, so it's kind of fun to watch him struggle since he's a vendor, but be nice. So with that, one last time, I'm going to self-promote and say, hey, if you like this video, if you like the content on the channel, subscribe. If you want to help out a little bit, become a member. If you watch a specific video that helps you out or solve a problem or something like that, or if you ask me a question, I make a video about it, it's to help you and others, by all means feel free to do the super thanks. If you want, join the Discord. I'm not going to be putting it out there too many people. If you have friends that are not necessarily people that watch my series or watch my streams, but you think they would be helpful, or you think that they would, you know, enjoy themselves in that Discord, like I said, I'm trying to keep it a little different. I don't want it to become a wild mess. Go ahead and invite them in. Let's see, subscribe, thumbs up, and join up. Yes, all those things. So that's about it. As always, it's been fun. It's about 10 to 9, which means it's almost my bedtime. So I'm going to cut this off and say goodnight. So say goodnight. I will check one last time here on who is around. I know Mark usually sticks around, so I'm going to say have a good night, Mark. I appreciate you stopping by. Renee, as always, fun to have you aboard. Let's see here. Nuno, if you're still around, thanks for joining in. Cottrell, thank you for stopping in. Thanks for asking questions. Questions are kind of make what these streams go through. Dune, thanks for stopping by. Nick, I'll see you around. I see you in a lot of different places pretty frequently. And yeah, you guys are all fun. Who else we got? Mark, Robert, I don't know if you're here. I know you're watching with the sound off, so I don't know how much fun that was, but if you can hear me, great to have you, Robert. And who else? For all the people that aren't chatting, one of the things I do in my streams, I don't allow people to chat that aren't subscribed to the channel, just to try to keep things down a little bit. But if you enjoyed this whatsoever, you probably like my videos more. Yeah. So anyways, good night to everybody. Have a wonderful weekend. I'll see you next week, I hope. And I'm going to try to push out some more content. If you have questions, email me, ask questions or comments on the videos. And I will do my best to bring up those situations, those things, because if you have an answer to a question, or if you have a question to an answer, everybody else probably has the same questions. So let's help each other out, pay it forward. And again, hope I see you around. See you later.